Hey guys, welcome to video 3 of the Sea of Thieves guide for beginners, where I will be going over fortresses, skeleton types and how to kill them, as well as how to use the different types of weapons that Sea of Thieves provides. Don't be hesitant to check out my last 2 videos where I talked about outposts, companies, ships, and navigation if you still need help figuring those out, and we got a lot to cover, so I won't keep you guys waiting. Let's get right to the content.
Hear me when I say, don't blame it on the
First up on the list, we will be covering fortresses and what they're all about. So, what is a fortress? When active, fortresses are places you can go to fight off hordes of skeletons, and if you're successful in defeating a few waves of the hordes of skeletons, you can get a lot of loot. You can't find animals on fortresses, nor can quests lead you to a fortress. What you can find is a decent amount of bananas, wooden planks, cannonballs, and gunpowder barrels. Anyways, remember that word I mentioned earlier? Active? I use this word because not all fortresses have skeletons spawned on them. And how do you know which ones are active? You know that gigantic green skull that is constantly giving you the death stare that floats in the sky? Well, that skull cloud indicates that a fortress is active, and that there are skeletons that have spawned on that fortress who are eagerly awaiting your arrival. There are 10 to 15 waves of skeletons per raid. I would recommend that you bring some friends along, if not an alliance, to come and help you out. Sometimes you'll wonder, when will the raids end? I'm down to my last banana and my health is nearly depleted. Help! Well, you know that you're close once the fort skeleton captain has spawned, and that means that you're on your last wave. If you defeat the skeleton captain, a vault's key will drop. That's right, you get to open a vault that's located on the fortress. It will take your crew multiple trips to take all the loot because there's so much of it. Before you can even begin taking down all those hordes of skeletons, you need to know how to use your weapons. You've got your pistol, blunderbuss, your rifle, and your cutlass. By the way, if you buy a new weapon from the shop, say a rifle, that doesn't mean that it's better than the rifle you currently own. In fact, it works just the same as the one you have. The only difference is the way it looks. There are times when using a particular weapon is appropriate and when using a particular weapon isn't appropriate. So the key is to know when to use which weapon. The pistol fires one bullet at a time and is a medium-ranged weapon that does moderate damage. The blunderbuss fires multiple bullets at a time and is a short-range weapon that can do high damage to one or multiple enemies at a close range. The rifle fires one bullet at a time and is a long-ranged weapon that can do high damage at a far distance. You can also use the scope on this weapon to get a closer look at your target and to make sure you are aiming accurately. The cutlass is a melee weapon that you can use to attack enemies and that can be used for blocking enemy attacks. Lunging is also something you can do with cutlasses. Lunging deals a high amount of damage to the enemy, which is performed by holding down the strike button. To make things more complex, there's also the jump lunge, which can be accomplished by first holding down the block button, and next you want to hold down the strike button while holding down the block button. Then, once your character is about to lunge forward, hit the jump button, which will allow them to lunge jump. Timing for this nifty little trick is everything. Knowing the strengths and weaknesses of your enemies will save you a lot of time and trouble. Anyways, let's start off with the basic bony white skeleton. This guy is the most basic of the basic. You can basically use any weapon to kill the basic bony skeleton, and that's basically it. Now moving on to the skeleton that wears a piece of clothing like a bandana, eye patch, or just some particular article of whatever clothing piece. This guy is a tad bit harder than the bony basic skeleton, and they're also a bit more aggro. Peace, not war, flower power, love, butterflies, go green. This guy is giving you the wrong signals. He's a mean son of a gun, and you can't do anything to kill him when he's decided to take a swim in some body of water. So the trick is to draw them away from the water and start hacking away at them with your cutlass. Don't bother using a gun because their armor is just going to absorb the blast. Next, we got the guy who isn't afraid of a good haunting. During the night, you can't kill them unless you whip out your lantern. This will cause the true skeletal brittle body to be revealed, which is when they are most vulnerable, and you can get rid of them any way you'd like once they've been exposed to your source of light. Gold skeletons are painted gold for the most part, however, most of them are not completely gold color, and you want to aim for the white spots, because that's where their weak spot is. Or you can just lure them near some body of water, and they'll begin to rust, which will cause them to weaken, and then you can kill them from there. One word. Run. Just run. And once you're as far away from this guy as you can possibly get, whip out your gun, aim for the skeleton, knock him dead, and you've just earned yourself a TNT barrel. Or you can blow up the TNT barrel when that skeleton and his horde of friends are chasing you. Just make sure you're quite a ways back and nowhere near your ship. This is the guy that spawns once he's run out of backup skeletons because you've just sent them back into the ground where they came from. Anyways, each captain type varies because they can spawn in as a plant captain skeleton or gold captain skeleton or regular captain skeleton, etc, etc. Anyways, they will still have the strengths and weaknesses of the skeleton type that they are, but they will also just be a tad bit harder to kill. And once they've been defeated, they'll drop a nice little present for you to keep as a souvenir until you sell that baby for some gold. Alright guys, that's it for this video. I hope you walk away or continue with your YouTube browsing thinking that you've learned more about Sea of Thieves than you originally knew about the game. And stay tuned for my last video in the Sea of Thieves Guide for Beginners series. I'll be going over what the Shrouded Spoils update has added to the game, even though it came out a little while ago, and I'll possibly even include a few tips and tricks to help you guys out in your travels around the Sea of Thieves map. As usual, don't forget to show your support if you like the content, and I hope to see you guys around.